As you're about to hear in the following stories, mental health is not something that should ever be taken lightly, and it's important to take care of it consistently. Growing up, you imagine that your life will look a certain way by a certain age, but things don't always turn out the way you once pictured. Maybe you didn't land a career you thought you would. Maybe you feel stuck, or like everyone around you is moving forward while you're just standing still. Those things can be difficult to talk about, and sometimes even harder to ask for help. For a long time, therapy can seem like something meant for other people, but over time, I realized it's not about something being wrong with you. It's about understanding yourself better and finding healthier ways to move forward. That's where today's sponsor, BetterHelp, comes in. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist after a short questionnaire, often within just a couple of days. And if it doesn't feel like the right match, you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform many people trust. Go to betterhelp.com/nightmarefiles to get 10% off your first month. The link is also in the description. I'm an 18-year-old female, and I go by the name Aria. I work as a slot attendant at a casino, so recognizing suspicious people isn't easy, especially since I'm often the one handling complaints. My coworkers and I are allowed to use our phones during downtime, so I often post it on the Instagram stories. For years I had shared my life online, selfies with coworkers, pictures from the bus stop at night. So high view counts and unfamiliar viewers weren't unusual for me. However, for about a week, I noticed something strange. A brand new account, which didn't follow me, was consistently the very first viewer on every story I posted. I felt disturbed by it. Something felt off, so I blocked the account to ease my anxiety. The very next night, after a normal day at work, I was waiting for the bus to go home around 8 p.m. While scrolling through Instagram, a notification appeared. A new account had started following me. The name was just a jumble of random letters. That gut feeling returned, telling me that this wasn't good. Later that night, around 1:30 a.m., I was still awake and talking to online friends when I noticed a new message request. It was from the same gibberish account. The message wasn't a simple hello. It read, "Follow for follow? I'm starting new. I wanted to make some girl mutuals. LMAO. Sorry if this comes off weird." I tried to brush it off, thinking it was just someone trying to get followers. But that heavy gut feeling wouldn't go away. I ignored it and followed the account back. Nothing else happened that night. The next day at work, as I was waiting to clock out, I was texting a friend. When I returned to my Instagram home screen, I saw that the odd account had posted a new note with its live location enabled. My heart dropped. The location was my workplace, and the note had been posted just 1 minute ago. The fact that someone was right here, right now, freaked me out. I tried to act normal, scanning the remaining customers for anyone on their phone, but no one. I didn't see anybody. When I left for the bus stop, I sat down and I glanced around, trying to stay alert. As I texted my friend about the situation, I noticed the location note was gone. I realized with a jolt of fear that whoever this was, they knew I had seen it. I blocked the account immediately. The minutes until the bus arrived felt like hours. That night, after showering around 3 a.m., I checked my phone before bed and I saw another new message request. A different account. The timing was what scared me the most. The message, sent just a minute earlier, was just a single quotation. I knew whoever it was had followed me home and must have seen my bedroom light turn on. The account's profile indicated they had posted a close friend story, and they obviously wanted me to see it. My hands were shaking as I clicked it. What I saw made me want to drop my phone and scream. There were two pictures. The first was a photo of me at the bus stop, taken from behind. The second was a picture of my house, taken from the window of the car. This person had followed me home and was watching me. With trembling hands, I messaged the account, demanding to know who they were. They left me on scene for a few seconds. I tried the video call, but they declined and started typing. The message sent was, "Follow for follow." It was the same person. They wanted me to see their location again. I followed them, and they posted a new note with laughing emojis. Their location was my street name. Then they messaged me, "Are you lonely? You need company?" The realization dawned on me. This person thought I lived alone. I didn't. I ran to my mom's room. I woke her up and told her to call the police. She locked the doors while on the phone with the dispatcher. As we waited, I had an idea. I messaged the account, "Come and test me," hoping to bait them into staying until the police arrived. But the profile just said, "Instagram user." I had been blocked. They must have seen my mom and realized I wasn't alone. The police arrived and they searched the area, but the person was long gone. Further investigation turning up nothing. All the accounts were deleted and no suspicious activity was found on my workplace's security cameras. To this day, I still wonder who it was and how they found me. I stopped taking the bus after that, and thankfully, nothing like that ever happened again. I got home one night, and I was exhausted and completely forgot about the wooden planks my landlord had installed on my windows for security. Around 4 a.m., I was jolted awake by loud, violent, and deliberate banging on my windows. I'm an extremely heavy sleeper, so the fact that I woke up at all still feels like a miracle. When I looked toward the window, I realized 2 men were outside, trying to force it open while yelling disgusting threats about what they planned to do to me. As they pushed and pulled, growing angrier, the window finally opened, but only partially. The wooden plank stopped it before opening all the way. Because of that plank, only half of one man's foot made it through the opening into my apartment. They kept trying to force the window wider, but the plank held firm. Seeing that foot inside my bedroom made everything feel unreal. I remember thinking that if the plank hadn't been there, they would have gotten inside while I was asleep, and I would have been completely defenseless. I immediately called the police. The man fled before they arrived. Officers came and took my statement, and later I learned the men were found. I chose not to press charges as I didn't feel capable of going through that process. I moved out within a week to a safer apartment building. Looking back, there were red flags I didn't recognize at the time. On several occasions, strangers approached me in the parking lot and asked about my boyfriend when he visited, and whether he was there on weekends. I realize now they were trying to figure out when I was alone. Another time, I walked into the laundry room and found a man sitting in the dark, just staring at me. After the attack, I realized he looked like the one man from that night. Ironically, I was working as a crisis counselor at the time. My job was literally to support survivors of violence, but my own sheltered upbringing made me slow to recognize the danger I was in. That morning, I had been angry about the wooden planks. That night, they actually saved my life. So this story began on a late 90s summer night in El Paso, under a heat so thick that it seeped into the adobe walls. A church block party was ending and a man slipped away from the crowd unnoticed. He followed my family home. The house was alive with its usual rhythm. Grandparents in their recliners, aunts on the couch, and the television was just murmuring. Everything was locked and sealed against the oven like the breath of a desert night. 10 minutes later, a soft, almost polite knock came at my door. My aunt opened it. A man stepped inside without an invitation, smiling an easy, wide smile that didn't feel right. He said, "Hi, guys." Manny just wanted me to stop by and say hi. Everyone knew Manny. He was my dad. The name was a key turning in the lock, and for a brief moment, everyone's guard dropped. When my grandfather finally asked who he was, the man didn't answer. He just stood there, his eyes drifting slowly across the living room, memorizing every detail as if he was taking inventory. "You need to leave," my grandfather said, his voice steady but edged. The man turned and walked out. A tense, listening silence settled over the house. Then the banging began. The front door shuddered in its frame as a knob twisted and rattled. "Is this how you treat family?" A loud, furious voice shouted through the wood. And then the voice changed. It slowed, deepened, and thickened, as if something heavy were uncoiling in the throat that was no longer entirely human. "Let me in," it said, calm, measured, almost gentle. "It's cold and rainy out here." The night sky was perfectly clear. "Come outside so I can carve your hearts out." "Show me your flesh. This is my domain." He repeated the word domain slowly, reverently, like a twisted prayer. He circled to the bedroom window where my grandfather was sitting and began pounding on the glass. A crack spiderwebbed outward before the window shattered. My grandfather bolted outside and picked up a rusted pipe from the yard. He swung it once, but the man was faster. The dull thunk of metal on bone echoed in the night. There was blood beneath my grandfather's eye, and he staggered back inside. He said, "Call the police." My grandmother froze, and she said, "Let's just see what happens." Outside, the man circled the house, his footsteps deliberate, his low voice still claiming his domain. Panic finally broke the spell, and my family spilled out into the street, pounding on neighbors' doors. The man walked back into the empty house. He opened the refrigerator and ate the leftovers straight from the foil. He drank from the milk jug. He jumped on the beds, spat on the mirrors, and touched everything, claiming it is all his. When the police arrived, they approached him like he was just a man, but he wasn't. He swung the pipe again, taking 2 officers down before 4 more could wrestle him down to the ground. All the while, his low voice kept murmuring, unhurried and certain. Years later, they said it was drugs, PCP or meth, something that burns the person away and leaves only a furnace of limitless strength and delusion. But in the retelling, it never quite settles on chemicals alone. Even now, my family checks the locks twice, glances at the windows after dark, and still hears, in the back of their minds, that calm, thickened voice repeating the word that never quite left them, and they kept hearing, domain. This is one of those stories that happened in my family that they just continue to tell throughout the years. Nightmare Files.